Good evening, everybody. Scott with Pratt& Associates Realty. Hope you had a fantastic Labor Day. Sorry I have not been here for the past couple of days. I was in Florida with my wife, seeing my mom, enjoying the beach down there with them. And I did want to come on here and talk to y'all, and I'm trying to do a little bit of catch up right now. I want to talk to you about a video I saw from Anna Kelly and Mike Zuber, and also the Uneducated Economist, and also some things that I've been watching and looking at as well, and something from Resi Club. Of course, one of my favorite places to get news, Resi Club. But anyway, Anna Kelly and Mike Zuber were talking about how 70% of Americans cannot even get their hands on $500 in the case of emergency, and that's bad. And to them, that was a signal for some bad things to come in the economy. They talked about GDP and GDI, gross domestic product, versus gross domestic income, and that they were not tracking at the same pace. GDP is still posting fairly positive numbers, where GDI is not posting as positive as it should be, and that is a potential recession indicator. And also unemployment ticking up in a short period of time was also a recession indicator. Anna Kelly believes that the Fed will cut interest rates probably either 0.25 or 0.5. Actually, she said all the way 100 points. We'll see. The Uneducated Economist talked about in his video, and I'll link both of those below for you so you know what I'm talking about, how since the great financial crisis, lowering interest rates has not had the stimulating effect on the economy that we thought it would have. And they really want us to believe that inflation is going to be the problem, and hyperinflation year over year over year and into the future. Whereas their biggest fear and concern is deflation. I would be curious to see if unemployment does tick up. If people, and let's say they don't cut interest rates, what would happen if housing inventory rises and then there's a situation where people wait for the bottom? I don't know if that will happen if they do cut interest rates. But anyway. Also, I want to talk about, let's get back to this Resi Club article. Scott, we want interest rates to get cut. That's what we've really been watching for this entire year. We've been waiting for interest rates to get cut. They said last year on the dot plot 7 cuts this year, and it's just not happened. And it seems like this whole interest rate raising up to almost 7.52%, its peak this year, was unfair. And they should just lower it back down to help everyone with housing affordability. But what I'm concerned about is that we have such a fragile amount of inventory. Affordable housing is on the endangered species list. And if you lower interest rates, you will unleash as many hunters into the woods, and they will just shoot each other out. And it will drive up prices, guys, and will make inflation so much worse. From the Jackson Hole speech, we talked about it last week. I'll talk about it briefly for 1 second. Jerome Powell's sort of, we're heading into that target. We're heading into the direction. As the Uneducated Economist calls it, it's a moving target. It's not just a target. And anyone who tells you, well, they're going to their target. When is that target supposed to be? Even the European Central Bank, he was talking about it today, the Uneducated Economist. They're even asking, what is the time frame for this formula that you have for your moving target inflation rate? So, interesting observation. They could keep interest rates as high as they want to, as low as they want to, because it does not have the stimulating effect on the economy that it used to have. In that Jackson Hole speech, Jerome Powell specifically said, we are heading in that direction, provided the data does what we think it should do. And they can use a positive GDP number, a 3% GDP number, to justify not cutting. I'm warning you. Now, am I wrong? I might be. My call is that I don't think they're going to cut. Anyway, again, guys, now what does this mean for next year? And I've said this before. I don't see do I see us going into a recession? Yes, I do have fears that now we are actually entering in a real live recession if we're not already in it. Unemployment's up. Let me see. I got some stuff I want to talk to you about. S&P final U.S. manufacturing PMI is 48. Now it's revised down to 47.9, I believe. Or ISM manufacturing from 46.8 to 47.2, so it went back up. I believe it's the S&P final U.S. manufacturing, where if it's below 50, that's a contracting economy. Like manufacturers are not manufacturing at the rate they should be building at. U.S. trade deficit, job openings went from 7.9 million to 7.7 million. Tomorrow, we're going to get initial jobless claims, ADP employment. We're also getting on Friday U.S. employment report, U.S. unemployment rate, hourly wages, and hourly wages year over year. And that will tell us a lot where the economy's heading. If we are entering into recession, well then, Scott, why don't we just wait for a scenario where housing prices crash? Well, we have such fragile amounts. As I said, it's an endangered species, affordable housing. And if they do cut, or just even if they don't cut, and just the fact that there's so many people out there who just cannot afford it, and that there's so little of it, and the people who can't, the ones who finally can push their dollars out there into that sector, they'll take up whatever inventory that they can, and it'll cause prices to rise. But even a price crash with low supply, no. Let me get to my point. I'm sorry, I'm kind of tripping over my sentence there, but with low inventory, I don't see a price crash. And I'm sorry to say that. I know it's hard to believe that. With low inventory, you are not going to get a price crash. Anyway, guys, this video is already way too long, and I will link those two videos down there below so you know what I'm talking about, or at least you can form your own opinions. But tell me, I'm going to do another video. I'll come back. Thank you anyway.